What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Kinesio Outdoors gear review. In today's video, I'll be giving my initial thoughts on the Catamount binocular harness. This is something that I've been looking at. I believe they're based out of Colorado, American-made company. I'm just looking because the binocular harness I had is not one that I'm super excited about. So I'll talk about what I'm coming from and then what kind of drew me to Catamount. So first, my old binocular harness came with my Vortex Diamondback binoculars. I got them on sale at Scheels for $100. This guy came with it. Amazing deal. Can't complain about it, especially since this was free. But my issues with this were it was kind of bulky. I wasn't the biggest fan of this lid. And when I got my Maven 12x50 binoculars, the fit in this binocular harness just wasn't quite what I was looking for, in the sense of I used to like to run my phone on top here, and the binoculars just didn't really fit as well. So I actually wasn't able to use my phone on the lid. So that was just a kind of a small thing. But also this is just a little bit big and bulky. It's not as sleek. It kind of hangs off my body and it sits a little bit lower, which I feel is more of a harness system issue than a binocular pack system issue. But I was just looking to try something different. I've had this for 6 or 7 years now. I can't remember. I had it for a long time. It did just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I was just looking for something different, something a little bit more sleek, compact, and that led me to Catamount. So, full disclosure, I just bought this used off eBay. The person I bought it from said they used it once for bird watching. Don't know why they wanted to get rid of it. I got a good deal, so I was excited. I was told this was the medium size, so I will be testing the Catamount medium binocular harness, which just confirmed, Bino 2.0 medium, perfect. Now, one thing I want to note is just initially looking at it, I really like the look. It's really sleek. It's a little bit taller and a little bit skinnier. I'm a skinnier person. I have a skinnier torso, so I like that. The fit is pretty good so far. One thing that I want to kind of talk about that I'm not the biggest fan of is this system here. Right there. This clips on. It's cool. I like the idea of it. I think this is going to be lighter than buckles, so I think it helps make it a little bit lighter. My issue with it is sometimes if I just take this off and I'll, kind of toss whatever, move it somewhere. I've had this just fall out. It's not the end of the world. Just slip it back on, but that's just something that I noticed pretty quickly right off the bat. You can, with these, I believe it's like Molly webbing, do a lot of attachments. I really like that idea, but it comes just with the bare necessities. When I'm looking at this, I like these stretch pockets. They do have a little bit of stretch. I'm not sure if I would like to see a little bit more stretch. I think I would, because one thing I always have is wind checker. And I just don't know that it's going to do the best job of holding my wind checker. Maybe my wind checker bottle's a little bit tall, but I'd like to see this pocket just be maybe a little bit taller. It is great for holding elk calls. On the other side, I can just stash a bunch of calls in. Elk, turkey calls are going to stash in there pretty well. This pocket, I think it's a cool idea, but I just find that it's going to be able to hold flat surfaces, really thin surfaces, which is fine if that's all you're trying to use it for, tags, things like that. I was going to put my lens wipes in and then my phone SD card reader, and then that would be fine. I do like on my old one, the Vortex, that I could put my release in this pack, and when I'm hunting and I'm just trying to hike around, it's nice to do that. But also if I'm at home and I just have my binocular harness and I decide I'm going to go shooting, I just grab this and it's got everything I need. So this does fit. I feel like it's a little bit snug, but I worry about functionality of it, because once I get my binoculars in, there's going to be less room. It's pushing out into that pocket, so now I have less kind of flexibility with that space. So I don't know if maybe this material could be made a little bit stretchy so it stretches out a bit more. I'm not sure what the potential solution would be, but I just don't find this pocket to be overly useful. It's pretty big. I can fit my decently sized hand. I wear size large gloves in there, but again, I'm just not sure the functionality with binoculars and trying to put bigger things in there. That fits pretty good. Definitely don't think I would try to run a phone in there with binoculars, especially the Maven 12x50s that I have. So now I want to talk about something that I noticed pretty quickly, and that is this is the medium. Online it says that's the size I need for my binoculars. When I go to pull it out, kind of gets hung up on there. the pulling out the binoculars isn't the easiest. When I try to flip it upside down, I actually find they fit a little bit better. So that's something where it's a quick solution for me. I could just get used to that. That's not a problem. I do like the lid, one hand open and closed. Really big fan of that. I don't feel like it needs to clip down onto something. Maybe it'd be cool if there was a magnet here, but I think it sits down just fine. So for me, that's good enough. If somebody wanted to improve it and really wanted something secured down, Catamount could add a magnet somewhere down on this guy, and that would hold it down. So again, the fit, getting the binoculars out isn't the easiest. It's pretty good if I have my hand on it, but when it sits on my chest, it actually wants to pull this up on my chest, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But when I try to fit this with the larger part of my binoculars down, it really wants to get stuck. So that's just something, it's kind of two-hand, at least for these binoculars. They're pretty big binoculars, 12 by 50s. But when I put them in upside down, it actually helps quite a bit. So one thing that I think is maybe a potential idea is if they kind of could put just some kind of pockets in here. I get that there's kind of the pocket for calls here, but I like to have a lighter on me. So if I have a lighter and then wind checker, this could just be me. If I have a lighter and wind checker, then my calls are going to be around my lighter. I don't want to lose my lighter, so I could just slip calls in here. That might be something that Catamount could do. But again, overall, I like how it's simple. I like the way it looks. It's pretty sleek. There's not a lot of extra bells and whistles. And I do like that I'm going to use my aftermarket, it's a marsupial rangefinder holder. I'm just going to sneak that guy right on the side here. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. But that's going to be my solution rather than having it on the strap here, which I didn't like it constantly move. So now I'm going to just put the binocular harness on here. I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. I like the fit of it. I saw another video somebody did. He said that these are too narrow because he actually has a neck. Maybe he just has a giant neck, or maybe I just have like no neck. But right now I'm wearing a hoodie to kind of exaggerate the size of my neck. And I find the harness fits just fine. I don't feel it rubbing on my neck at all. I do like these locking buckles. It does make it really nice for getting the adjustments exactly the way you want them. Big fan of that. I like the way that this harness, there we go. I like the way it sits high on my chest. I like things high on my chest. I'm just a skinnier individual. I like things in tight. So I'll show you what I mean with pulling the binoculars out. So right now, even just sliding them in, they don't want to slide all the way down. When I pull them out, kind of gets stuck. If I slide them upside down, it slides down easier and it pulls out easier. So that's my solution. It works pretty darn well. And then I want to show with the binoculars in. So I'll just show the one hand. That's pretty quick. Big fan of that. That's going to work pretty well for me. When the binoculars are in, fitting things in here, again, works pretty well. But they do have a Gen2 Cache something. I forget the name of it. I'm probably going to get that so I can just have my lighter, extra calls. I'll just do this. I just have them all below it, and I think that's going to work just fine. I like the sleekness of it, and I like that this is going to go on the side here. So overall, first impressions, I'm a fan. If you had bigger than 12 by 50s, I'd be hesitant about using this harness because right now that's pretty good, but I usually run my binoculars this way so that way I can just pull it out versus pulling it out and then flipping it upside down. I'll just have to practice it, not a big deal. Again, overall I like it. I will do some testing in the field on my upcoming bear hunt and then during elk season. I'll get back with the review of after spending some time with it. I will say, I personally run my Zoleo on my binocular harness. With my old one, what I did is with these little loops here, I would just clip it to this top loop and then it would feed under these two loops. So it would sit pretty snug. It flopped a little bit, but nothing crazy. I don't see a nice place to put this on me. My issue is if I drop my pack, I drop my Zoleo. And if I drop my pack, I'm trying to sneak in and move quickly. I don't want to have to think, oh shoot, Zoleo, and pull it off my pack. So maybe I can run it on the side here. Maybe I'll kind of run it up through and clip here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but that is something that I'll need to find a solution for. So here's kind of a quick overview of the way I'm going to be using this binocular harness. I've got my Carter Whisper 2 release. Got lens wipes, and then I kind of jammed this in here, so we'll just mostly leave it. But I've got my SD card reader, so those are going to live in there. I also have a lighter kind of stuffed back in here, so that's a little bit tight. And again, there's not much I was fitting in there. It'd be good for tags and flat things. Looks like this release is going to fit in there pretty well. Got my wind checker. I always try to keep an extra one in my backpack. Sorry about that. And then I've got a few elk calls in here, but right now it's hard for me to grab these elk calls because that release is pushing in. If I have the room, it's much easier. So not sure of a solution for that, but that is something that I'm kind of running into as a little bit of an issue. Now I have the rangefinder pouch on the side here, and this is just a buckle. This actually isn't necessarily a MOLLE webbing, kind of like the Kafara system. Just a buckle. However, it fits on just fine. This actually is pretty snug. I prefer this over just having it clipped around like a strap. So I'm a big fan of that so far. I couldn't get the Zoleo to fit through this MOLLE webbing on the side easily, so I just put it on this shoulder strap here. We'll see how I like that. Probably won't. And then again, I've got my binoculars in here. So that's how I'm gonna run this. I'm strongly considering getting that Gen 2 Cache Pocket now that I've seen, and I really like the way this looks and fits. So one thing I do want to point out now that I've got it kind of fully outfitted for how I think I'll use it for hunting is, so using that stop. Again, my binoculars are upside down. I cannot get those out. Why? Because my outside stuff is pushing in to the binoculars and it's kind of holding them in place. So if I remove the lighter, let's see if that helps. Lighter and release are removed, it's better. So again, these pockets get really full, it pushes in. Conversely, if the binoculars are in, it pushes out. So these pockets, as far as I can tell, aren't the most functional. Again, I'm not sure of a solution, but that is something to be aware of. This is definitely going to need to go in that Cache Pocket, which I will be for sure getting. So those are my initial thoughts of this Catamount Gen 2 Bino harness. I like it so far. There's a couple things that I'm going to need to tweak with that Cache Pocket down below. But I think once I get that, this system will be the perfect system for me, what I like to do, how I like to wear it. So now that I've kind of gone through this review, I do want to point out, use this as kind of like what I've seen with this in my hands. Make your own decisions based on the way you hunt, what you need this to do. And lastly, so thank you for watching. If you have any comments about binocular harnesses that you like, that you prefer, or things that you have questions about with this, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to try to answer those the best I can. Feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. Thanks again for watching, for your support, and we'll see you on the next video. But wait, there's more. I actually called Mark from Catamount. He's the owner, founder. He is Catamount. And first of all, salt of the earth, great guy, blue collar guy. He mentioned that there is an upcoming solution to my windicator issue coming very soon. And he told me I could give you guys a little teaser about it. So stay tuned, that's coming soon. Keep an eye on the Catamount website, on the Catamount Instagram for the windicator solution. I'm excited to get my hands on that and get you guys my feedback, my review. Until then, we'll see you on the next video.